Welcome, this is Teddy JJ, and this is my first completely sports oriented video. And we're going to go right into the NBA Friday, the November 23rd games. I was watching for the Knicks versus the Houston Rockets. It was the first game I was focusing on, so I was flipping through with Brooklyn Nets versus Clippers and also OKC in Boston. But let's start off with the Knicks game. I expected the Knicks to go into Houston and completely dominate the matchup between Raymond, Felton, and Jeremy Lin, keep James Harden in check, and Melo was going to control the pace of the game. And the total opposite happened. They were trying to get Raymond Felton off early, and he was missing shots, and he was not taking advantage of the matchup. And Jeremy Lin, he stayed calm. He would come down, set up his team. He was playing an average game. He's an average player. I feel like he was overhyped when he was in New York, but I thought he was a good player. Going over to Houston and got paid a lot of money, but he's playing a consistent average game. Having James Harden there is what really is making life easier for Jeremy Lin. I thought the Knicks were going to be able to keep James Harden in check. They had no chance at that. He went off for 33 points, and he was scoring at will. They would play him too tight. He would stutter step, getting into the lane, getting fouls. He was living in the paint when he wanted to. When they would fall back from him to give him space, he would just pop his shots in people's faces with no problems. James Harden, he's really playing to that high level. I got to watch a full game of it, and I'm very impressed. I knew James Harden was good at OKC, but him stepping into the spotlight with being the main person, I had my skepticism about it. He has some games where he plays lower than others, but he's figuring it out. As a young team, he's leading them very well, and he's playing at a very high level. Carmelo Anthony was Carmelo Anthony. He went off for 37 points. Houston Rockets let him do whatever he wanted. He was scoring at will, hitting threes, and he's the only person they were letting score. Everybody else they kept in check. Raymond Felton only had 17. J.R. Smith was forcing everything, only ended up with 12 points. They really kept everybody else in check and let Melo run around and do whatever he wanted. But the player of the game goes to Chandler Parsons. Who would have known? I mean, this is my first time really seeing Parsons play like that. This guy from Florida, and he just went off. He was hitting 3 pointers left and right. I think he only missed one shot in the first quarter. It was crazy. He was driving the lane. He was basically walking all over the Knicks defense. And the Knicks, they started the season. It was all about defense. The Knicks were playing great defense. But yesterday, it seemed like their defense did not show up to Friday's game, and that they paid the consequences for that. I was very disappointed in that. The Knicks started the season out great, and I was having high expectations for them to really contend for the top spot in the East. But last night, they were getting all caught up with the calls and the referees. Carmelo Anthony's fighting with arguing with the referees, and they're scoring points behind them, and that's really affecting them with getting technical fouls, and it swings the whole momentum of the game. That same thing happened with the Memphis Grizzlies when they got their first loss. They got a technical foul. It switches the whole pace of the game. They need to get a level head, focus on playing, winning basketball. There's a lot of experience on that team. I thought they would be able to get in Carmelo's head and get him to stay calm, because these old legs on the team, they can't go the whole season and being playing wild like that. They need to slow down the pace, play smarter basketball, and Mike Woodson needs to continue leading them, get them back in check so they can get back to winning basketball. Second game I was focusing on was Brooklyn Nets versus the Clippers. I was really excited to watch the matchup between Darren Williams and Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a great point guard. The Clippers put together an amazing team with talent that's stacked from top to bottom. I thought the Clippers were going to come into Brooklyn and walk all over the Nets with all the talent that they had, but the total opposite happened. I think we know what Darren Williams and Joe Johnson could do. That's a great backcourt, and that could contend. But the front court of the Nets is what I was worried about with Brook Lopez, Chris Humphries, and Reggie Evans, and Andre Blatch. I thought the front court is not that impressive on paper. I thought Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan was going to come and walk all over them, but Brook Lopez held his ground, dropping 26 points. He was hitting his shots. He was scoring, and that's the X factor for the Brooklyn Nets. If the Brook Lopez could play at a high level, then the Nets have a lot of potential to stir up the East, and this is why I have that hat on today, because Brooklyn Nets, you guys impressed me last night. Keep up the good work. I know you guys are gonna have your up and down, but Avery Johnson's trying the best with you guys. Jay-Z support you guys. You got all of Brooklyn and all of New York rooting for you. Just continue to play at a high level, and you guys gonna get it together. You had a chance. I was worried about your fourth quarter and closing out games. Because it's LA, you had a chance to beat LA, but the Nets, they faltered in the fourth quarter. But last night against the Clippers, they really held on and was able to win the game. If they could find who's going to be their fourth quarter scorer, they have a good chance to contend for the East. And then Boston Celtics versus the Thunder. Now, rajon Rondo versus Russell Westbrook was a matchup I was watching. I watched a lot of the point guards, but Kevin Durant's my non-point guard that I really like a lot. Kevin Durant's a calm guy. His scoring monster. Is they have an awesome team, but last night they were getting exposed for Russell Westbrook. Um, Last year, Kevin Durant had said something in an interview, and he said that he loves playing with Russell Westbrook, and I didn't fully understand that. And I have to go back to the Wednesday's game between the Clippers and the Thunder, and I finally understood what Kevin Durant kind of meant by that. And I feel like Russell Westbrook, he doesn't really set up his team. He takes up a lot of shots and he takes away from Kevin Durant. He's 3 years in a row scoring leader, but I feel like that margin could be a lot more if Russell Westbrook was a point guard that could set up his team a little bit more. But on Wednesday's game against the Clippers, you know, Chris Paul misses his shot in regulation to win the game, so they go into overtime. First couple of possessions, the Thunder are having trouble scoring, and then Russell Westbrook just walks up and jacks up a 3-pointer at the beginning of the shot clock and it goes in. And then the next play, he makes this crazy leaning, driving shot, and it goes in, and it changes the momentum in the overtime, and the Thunder go on to win that game. So when Russell Westbrook hits those crazy shots, it helps the Thunder. But when he's missing, he looks like a total knucklehead out there. So I feel like they're going to get up against Boston, which is a much smarter team. They have roles. Rajon Rondo setting everybody up. They have an inside presence, outside presence. Paul Pierce played a great game with 27 points. Jason Terry was contributing a lot, and Kevin Garnett is Kevin Garnett. So the Boston is a level-headed, experienced team that plays well together. I feel like with the Thunder, not having James Harden there's nobody to fill in that gap that Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant that he used to do before. Kevin Martin, he's a cool guy, but he only gave 3 points last night or 8 points. He did nothing last night against Boston. And if they don't get consistent contributions from Kevin Martin, they're really gonna suffer because Ibaka, he's playing good. He hits that mid-range shot, but they do not have a low post presence, and the low post presence is killing them. Even coming off of pick and rolls, if it's not for Ibaka to fade off and hit that shot, they're getting Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant are getting double teamed when they come off of pick and rolls, and that's really affecting them. Um, Russell Westbrook, they have to force up shots at times, and their offense is getting a little cloggy. They still score a lot of points, but it's really going to affect them in the long run. I was surprised that they lost to Boston. Boston's figuring themselves out. They got a lot of new pieces over there, and Rondo is going on 30 plus games where he's been as 10 or plus assists. So Boston, they're gonna figure things out and they're gonna do well. Another thing is with the Lakers. I saw the stats for the Lakers game, and it seemed like Dwight Howard and Paul Gasol was non-existent. Memphis Grizzlies is a team that shocked me. They weren't on my radar at the beginning of the season. I had no hopes for them, and now they're playing like the best team in the West besides the Spurs, and they just manhandled the Lakers. They're with D'Antoni being the new the new coach there. I think their offense is supposed to get better, but they need Steve Nash to come back. The Lakers, if they want to be a real threat in the West, they're going to need another piece. Their bench is very thin. Not having Steve Nash, they don't have another point guard that can step in. So Kobe Bryant is playing point guard basically now, and shooting guard, and everything, doing everything for them basically. And you know, Marcus Gasol and Zebo healthy. The Grizzlies was able to keep up with them and win the game ultimately. Rudy Gay is playing amazing. I thought with the Memphis losing OJ Mayo, they wouldn't have a real scoring threat off the bench, but their bench has been stepping up between Pondexter, Jay Bayless, and Ellington. They really got a nice squad going on over there, and we gotta look out for them in the West. So that's my NBA talk for today. Look out for more coming. This is just the beginning. Teddy JJ. Check me out at Twitter, Teddy_JJ. Instagram is Teddy_JJ also. And I got a blog that I'm gonna be putting together. It's probably gonna be full effect by January. Hopefully, get my website, get some other things going on. We're in for a very interesting NBA season. Next video, I'm probably gonna talk about the NFL and some other things going on in sports.